All right, how you doing? I missed you guys over the weekend. How you been? I got a lot done. I hope you did too, but I'm ready to get the shop open up, spend a day in the shop. Fixing cars, making money. That's what we like to do around here. I hope you guys are doing really well. The weather's improving a little bit. I don't even need a jacket or a beanie today. It's 54 degrees, supposed to be 72. Back to Florida, winter. That's normally what we get. We'll put some clips in so you'll know exactly what kind of vehicles or repairs we might be doing in today's video. We're gonna weld this. It's like a 2013 Hyundai Elantra, a big luxury Hyundai sedan before they had Genesis. So there's quite a bit going on, as you can see. At least I hope there was. I don't know yet. I put those clips in later on. I don't have any idea what's going to happen in today's video, but I do know one thing. I'm anxious to get started. I had a pretty good week last week. It's been hard to break the 40-hour mark, but we did it last week, so that's pretty cool. We're going to try to do it again. Let's finish getting this place open up, do our best to learn a thing or two and have some fun. Let's get started. Stay tuned. Alright guys, nothing for me to do in the shop this morning, so we're gonna weld this up. I got everything dressed up, cleaned pretty good. Couldn't find the neck. It had fell into the tank while I rolled it over to drain it. So I fished it out of there with a coat hanger. Now we're gonna weld it in place. The plan is to get it tacked on one side and then use my level in a couple different directions to get it square. It doesn't have to be perfect, but I don't want the thing to be at a 30-degree angle from square. So we'll get a tack on one side and figure it out from there. Hopefully it doesn't catch on fire. If it does, it'll be a spectacular show. Not going to win any internet welding competitions, but my goal is that it's strong, and when we put the shop air on it to drain it, it holds enough air pressure that it pushes the oil out. And I went around it twice to make sure we got it in the metal that hadn't been fatigued by all the times the lift was hit on it. I think we're good. I'm going to let that cool. We'll spray a little black paint on it. Boom, saving the boss money left and right. Oh, no charge. Hey guys, all kidding aside, if you want to do that on one of yours, don't be afraid that it's going to blow up. It might catch on fire, that's why I did it outside. So make note of that. You gotta always be safe. Preferably a chemical fire extinguisher nearby. Hopefully that helps you out if you got one that you want to try and repair. You know not to be afraid of it, but to be careful and respect that old oil that's laying in the bottom. I couldn't get the last little bit of sludge out of the bottom. So there's a little bit of risk. You got to be careful. But it worked out. We did it outside for that reason. Isn't she pretty? It's like a 2013 Hyundai Elantra. Right out of the body shop, it looks like. This is all brand new paint. Brand new overspray. Fender's been off. The hood stays open on its own. But I am going to put this down just in case. Got check engine light on. We're gonna take a look. It's got 101,000 miles. Alright, I was gonna give the DS300 some love, but apparently it sat in my toolbox too long. I really need to do my scanner comparison video. Maybe I'll give away some more scanners after I get that done. I have a lot of scanners, what I'm saying. They all get a turn for the most part, but I tend to default to this Phoenix Light too. But the DS300 I really like as well. Anyway, it's not quite as clean on the inside as Hyundai, I apologize, but not terrible. I guess it's a 4. 101022 is the exact millage, and we're gonna go Asian, we're gonna go Hyundai, we're gonna get these two shaking hands, we're gonna see what the codes are. Since it was in an accident, I wouldn't be surprised if there's something going on with a damaged... Settle down out there, will you? Two tractor trailers racing. I wouldn't be surprised if there's damage to an evap hose or solenoid or a connector left off or something, because it looks like the whole front end's been off this car. So all speculation till we look. All right, the report has been sent. The weird thing is P0563 system voltage high. Very interesting. We've got TCS ESC switch error, TPMS battery voltage high and low. These are all history codes too. There's nothing happening right now. Tire pressure sensor failures. So I sent a report. We're going to investigate this P0563. Let's get under the hood. We like to check the oil, take a look at all the filters, belts and hoses, fluid condition. Mostly I want to see the battery and what's going on, if anything's going on with that. Well, someone's gone through the trouble of putting a sweet battery bungee system in. Looks like the hold down is frozen down there, so it's not in it. And it's a brand new battery from the Walmart company, Value Craft. I think that's who sells those, right? You guys know. Let's go inside. See, I think that code is because they had a bad battery and it was trying not to overcharge it. If the batteries go bad, the resistance goes down, the charging voltage goes up, and the computer's pulling amperage out, trying to keep the voltage down. And then they replace the battery, but the code's still there. So let's look at some data and see what it's doing right now. Minus about 8 amps with the key on and all the modules awake, sensor built in, battery temperature, battery voltage after key, battery voltage AMS. Let's start it up. I want to see also the battery current. It actually shows you when it cranked. That amperage went whoop, spiked up. Now it's at 20 amps or so, fluctuating a little bit. Temperature, voltages all look really good. That's why I think this thing just had the battery replaced and that code was there. That's kind of a shame. So let's see on graphing mode what that looks like. Now, a couple people have mentioned to me when I combine them that it's more confusing, but I mean, to me that's what the colors are for. And you can combine just one or two things if you wanted to do current and voltage. That actually means the charging system is working correctly, because the computer has it charging whatever it sees it needs for demand to keep the battery up to 14 volts or so. So if I race the engine, it should not increase. If it increased, it means it's not controlling the alternator very well. It might increase momentarily, then level back off. I'm revving the engine just a little bit there. If we shut the air conditioning off, the amperage should go down. Goes down. And we can do things like put the AC back on, put the lights on with the high beams. We had a momentary dip, and it should come back up. Everything's working good with that right now. I am going to let them know what I'm seeing and see how much further they want to go, if they want to spend any more time on it. Right now at this point we would just charge them like the half hour, which is the minimum shop charge, because they're not really seeing a problem, anything to be concerned about, just that pesky light. They call it the money light, but I don't know if I really like calling it that. It's more like a hardship light because they come on for all kinds of things that aren't really critical. Most of the emissions, like you leave your gas cap a little loose, that light will come on, and then it costs you $100 and something to figure it out because you left the gas cap loose. It all seems a little silly to me, but it's just the way of the world, I suppose. Let's stop flapping. Go ask them up front, let them know what we've seen so far, and see if we're going to go any further with this car. You don't see these too often. Like a 2008 Hyundai Azera, I think it's called. The big luxury Hyundai sedan before they had Genesis. 146,520 on the miles. Not too bad for this age, I guess. This thing's going on like what, 17 years old now. It's amazing 2008 was that long ago. Really nice interior. This thing's 7, maybe an 8. What do you think? I think 7. I'm gonna go 7. Yeah, it's a nice car for a Hyundai, especially. It has a little bit of a Mercedes vibe to it, which I think is what they're probably going for. But anyway, we got to look at a window not working. We got to change the oil, and we got to do our complimentary inspection. Right front window does not work. To which I would say you are 100% correct. Doesn't work from either master. Uh-oh. Fixed it. That'll be 1 hour. No, I'm just kidding. We're not going to charge him for that. This button here, for anyone who might not know, this cancels the other windows. When they push it on, the driver's window will work because you're the commander of your vehicle. But now the other windows, none of them will work. If you take this off, then the other windows will work. Just FYI, because the customer is going to pay $100 to diagnose that. So, but I don't roll that way. I will just let them know not to push that button by mistake. So this is basically an oil change. Let's do it. I got to do the inspection too, but I'm guessing, looking at this car, that it's probably in good shape, but we have to make sure. Let's take a look. Oil change underway. The phone! That's silly. To get to the filter, they could have just made this go straight a little right now. The problem is they didn't do that. So now every time it gets an oil change, a nut gets lost, a nut gets lost, a nut gets lost. You find a spare nut you have. Mechanics don't want that stuff to happen. But, you know, sometimes people are saying, you only did 4 oil changes today. What the hell am I paying you for? You're fired. Do more. So they rush, and then stuff like that happens. And everybody's quick to blame the mechanic. I blame the shop. The shop creates an environment for success, or the shop creates an environment for failure. And people that blame the mechanics, yeah, the mechanics sometimes make mistakes. A lot of times they're in over their head, they're underpaid, they're undertrained, and the shop's trying to make money by doing it that way. And the mechanic takes the blame. I don't understand that. But to me, that shop's as strong as its weakest link, and the shop ultimately gets the responsibility. 27 millimeter. Let that drain a minute so it don't make a mess. Drain plug and everything. That's nice. Simple like that? Are you kidding? There's 2 O-rings on this. If you're paying some poor kid 12 bucks an hour to do it, it's probably not going to change that one. You never know. I'm just going with the law of averages. Yeah. All right. Since I fixed it, I should be the first one to try out the new oil drain repair. Yeah. doesn't miss oil changes. Everything looks pretty good on this car. Tires are starting to dry rot just a little bit, but the tread's real good. And since she doesn't drive it far, these tires might last 5 more years. It's weird, the drain plug had the wrong gasket on it, and the oil filter comes with one. I don't understand that part. But I know when I'm done, it'll have the right gasket on it. How about that part? I do need my socket and my ratchet. Looks like it might be a little bit of a slow day today, guys. I apologize in advance, but we'll see. I've been trying to do a video review on this Ansel Advanced Circuit Tester tool, PB600, which looks really cool so far, but I have not, since I've got that tool, I have not had any electrical diagnosis to do. Very strange. Coincidental, I'm sure, but strange just the same. But on the good news front, oil drain's holding up good. So far, all the tires are low. .3 quarts of 530 dinosaur blend. These containers just lay in puddles of oil over there, so I gotta try to be careful not to leave oil everywhere I put it. Make sure that's a little overfull right now. Perfect. Tidy up a few things. Put a sticker in this car and be done. Oh, don't forget washer fluid. When's the last time you saw a 2001 Isuzu Trooper on the road? What about a super clean one that's basically just about mint? She's pretty. Let me tell you what. This thing is a 9, maybe a 10. I don't know. It's close. What do you think? Should I go all out on this? I mean, this thing's nice. Got 90,000 some odd miles on it, I believe. Let's see, 97,221 miles. Ooh, it's nice. I've got a problem with the shift lock. Can't get the key out of the ignition sometimes. It needs front axles. I think I looked at it a year ago. They said, and he wanted to do the axles now. These axles are kind of weird. You got to disassemble the differential on one side because it's a snap ring holds it in from the inside. Sometimes you can just pull the boot off and leave the cup. Put the axle in the cup. That's what you normally would do to save labor, and it's like 5 hours labor for that one axle. So if you just do the axle without the inner cup and the cup's in good shape, you can save the customer like 3 hours, 3.5 hours labor. So man, this thing, he's literally waxing the inside of the door jambs. Very nice truck. Let's take a look. We're going to look it over really good. He's got ABS light on. The axles, like I mentioned, the shifter doesn't come out of park. The suspension or drivetrain light blinks. The bottom 2 wheels and the light blinks. So it's not happy about something in the all-wheel drive. I think this might have shift on the fly. Yeah, I think it's shift on the fly, not all-wheel drive. We're going to take a look. We're going to figure it all out. All right, for my day in the shop, people, and my Think car. Keep it down over there, man. We're working over here. You guys stop horsing around, will you? We're gonna get this Think car scan tool in this. We'll hook this up. We'll get some codes. See what's going on. All I need to do is find out where to plug it in. Oh, I found it. Sneaky little guys. Let's get this plugged in. The little light shows us it's working. Put the key in and on. Turn on our scan tool, orange button on top. Automatic search. Well, that's a pretty cool screen. Don't see that every day. It's a car matrix. This is my first time using the tool, so it may take a second. So we'll try this. It's not seeing the VIN. Probably because it's an older Isuzu. Asian Isuzu. Sometimes when you tell it the brand, then it'll go ahead and load it for you. I think that narrows down the protocols it's going to use to try to talk to it. Automatically search. Currently used functional exports modes since the year 2008. Please enter the test via the menu of the year model. Okay, so we're going to go like this. Back from the select year. This is a 2001. It is a Trooper. Let me make sure there's no other options. Yep, that's it. Trooper Bighorn. I'm going to go on my ABS. This is a very unusual software layout for me. It's not something you see very often. P002B, right front isolation valve circuit, which is in the ABS unit. Details. Description. Manufacturer defined. You can try to obtain more reasons and repair suggestions from Google. It's funny how more reasons has no space. It should be more space reasons. Alright, let's do a Google search. Don't prompt again. Swipe to return to the previous page. Accept and continue. We're going to look online with the tool and see what we can find. Help with ABS issue. Checking Isuzu ABS trouble codes for free. You can also jump out 2 pins in that connector and it'll blink the codes for you. But I don't think it's going to blink this one. Right front isolation valve circuit. Help with ABS search. Help with ABS issue. Let's get an idea of what Fixya is going to say. They always want you to pay. Which, I make videos without charging people. I'm not sure why they have to charge. There's a lot of information basically. You're searching online, just like if you use a cell phone or any other tablet or computer. That's what this basically is, a tablet using a ThinkCar software. So it's going to let you look around online, and if there's a lot of information online about your problem, it's going to show you. If there isn't, it's not going to show you. So this is talking about O2 sensors and things that have nothing to do with that ABS isolation valve. We'll see if this will swipe. Oh, you can change my volume. I can change the screen brightness. I'm going to do that. I can swipe left. There you go. I'm going to send a report to them up front too. You can use this little button to send a report. You guys, if you watch a lot of my videos, you know how much I like that. If this was a code that was a little more familiar, or the vehicle was probably a little newer, this is almost 25 years old. So these would be a lot more helpful on a different vehicle, and we'll try it on other vehicles as well too, of course. What causes those isolation dump codes most of the time? I would assume it's something in the ABS module. But there is a small possibility, like if I have a bad right front ABS sensor, and it activates the ABS module when it sees that sensor doing weird things, and it still sees the sensor doing weird things, it's not reacting. It could say, my isolation dump valve isn't working correctly. So it could misdiagnose itself. So that's where our job is, to figure out, is it accurate in the isolation dump valve problem, or is it blaming it for something else out of its control? Okay, real quick, I use the tool to send a report. This is what the page looks like. Goes down, shows you it's pre-scanned before repairs, shows you how many codes are in that module. This is the ECM one. So I couldn't find a way that I could do all of the codes at one time, but I'm sure there is a way. I'm just going to figure it out, and I'll show you that too. I'm taking this for a little drive to see what we get for ABS data. It doesn't start reading ABS data till 6 miles per hour. What we can also do here is put it in graphing mode. I love me some graphing mode. We can combine them. There'll be different colors: blue, orange, purple, and yellow. I'm going to go over 6 miles an hour again and try to get us some graphing data. Oop. I could also lift it up and do that. I have to do a couple things underneath anyway, so maybe we'll do that. See what it shows us for data. I thought that would be a cool experiment. Didn't work out. One thing I noticed too, he's complaining about not being able to get the key out. When you put this thing in park, it doesn't really go all the way into park. Now it's in park all the way, and you can't get your key out if it's not in park all the way. So what happens is, if you just put it in park like this, and then you try to get your key out, the key won't come out. But if you go like this, the key comes out. So something's not adjusted right in the shifter linkage, either a cable or a linkage bar will have a slight adjustment. We'll have to tweak on that a little bit. And we're going to take a look at this ABS, probably with it up on the lift. We got a few things to do on this one. Be patient, we'll get to it. Well, I know why I recommended axles last year. Could just do boots on these, believe it or not. The axle cup is clipped onto the axle. You could just pop them off, put a boot in the outer joint, or even just put a boot on it. You got to take these plates off to get to the snap ring inside. It's locked on. It does not, you don't slide hammer them off, they don't come off. I think both of them, you have to unbolt this plate and the clips inside there. It's been probably 20 years since I've even worked on one of these, but something like that. I was reading up on it and that's what it's saying. But I got to look at the brakes and tires and all the other stuff too. I also want to see about an adjustment. If there is an adjustment for this, so I can probably loosen that 14 and let this shift linkage relax. It's kind of bound up. That's why it's not quite letting the shifter go into park and unlock the key. I'm going to loosen that and adjust that real quick while we're in here. Part of my diagnosis. The four-wheel drive light blinking. There's a few things that can cause that. And I want to say, looks like someone's been working on this. I think the four-wheel drive switch is up top. It could be this one on the right hand side, could be this one up here. I gotta look at a wiring diagram, get my wire colors, and we'll see if it's switching signals to put it in and out of four-wheel drive. That four-wheel drive light blinking is concerning, as is the harness laying down in the pan. We're gonna have to do some testing on this four-wheel drive setup, see why those lights are blinking. I can't get codes with a scan tool on the four-wheel drive, so it's got to be all manually. For now, I'm just looking around, making sure I don't see anything real easy and obvious. Man, remember when I used to have fuel filters? All of a sudden they decide you don't need them. New cars don't have them anymore. Greasable U-joints. This is heavy duty stuff, man. Original shocks, 25 years old. Alright, let me look around a little bit more, finish my inspection, make a little list of the obvious things. I'm going to loosen that shifter thing really quick, take care of that. Man, it's going to need brakes soon too. I don't want to pile on, but I think they're the original brakes and they're down about 2 millimeters in there. If you can see those. Not terrible, but they're close. And that's my job, to write all that down and let the chips fall where they chip. Luckily this is rounded. I've hit my head on it like 4 times. I don't learn easy. Let's put all this equipment down and get us a 14 millimeter wrench. Got a little bit of relaxed. I think that's all we need. I hope you saw that. Let's see here. Now I can wiggle the shifter now. Now I'm going to try to, as gently as I can, put it back in park. Ta-da! We already fixed something on this thing. It's a nice clean car, even though it's old. Checking off boxes, that's all we can do. We're going to look at the four-wheel drive check light that's blinking last. I'm going to look at this ABS. This only has 4 high and 4 low, so it's full-time four-wheel drive, or what they call all-wheel drive. I'm going to see if it turns all 4 wheels or not. Huh. Not showing any data. That's interesting. It's probably because I had the scanner disconnected and put it back on. Let's see if we get a change. Alright, well, I can see one problem. I've got speed from both rear wheels and nothing from both front. That's because the four-wheel drive isn't working, and that's probably why that light is on. It should be working all 4 wheels right now. The only thing I can, change. Oh, yeah. It's like it's doing it on purpose. The only thing I can change is whether it's in 4 high or 4 low. I like how you can do that. You can, if you want to take it out of graph, you can push graph again. You can go back, or you can just do this. Well, it goes back to the previous page. That's pretty cool. That is interesting. This is probably not the best car to use a new scan tool on that you're not familiar with. ECM. Read fault code. I sent a report on these codes too. They've got coolant temp codes, catalyst codes, EGR codes, evap codes, fuel level sensor codes, fuel trim codes. There's a lot of codes. I'm clearing those too. I've sent a report for both. I couldn't find a way to combine them all into one report yet. Let's pull up a wiring diagram, get into this 4-wheel drive system, and sort that out. The customer did say they just had a transmission put in. Might have something to do with that. Alright. I got the PB600 from Ansel on here. We are going to do some testing of the 4-wheel drive circuit on this 2001 Isuzu Trooper. Just the base cord that comes with this, I have on there right now. You don't even need the extension. And I'm reaching all the way in from the battery into here, so that's pretty cool. Let's get in the fuse box and see what we see. I'm going to put this on oscilloscope. Might as well. Uh-oh. I want to see my 4-wheel drive fuse, which is number 4, 1224. The other side 1226. Nothing. It sees the ground. When you hear the faster beeps, it sees the ground. The slower beeps, power. So you don't have to look at the meter if you don't feel like it. Interesting. All the fuses are good, so we know we got that covered. That sends power out to the 4-wheel drive control module. This vehicle has no 4-wheel drive. It's weird, when you put this thing in 4-wheel drive auto, where you go from low to high, the transfer case kind of goes chunk and the front wheels just go bump, but they never move. So it's mad about something, I'm guessing, but I see a ground wire here. I'm gonna see if I connect that ground wire. If I connect that ground wire, I might fix something else. I'm not really sure. So that's my plan. Get a 10mm, hook that up, and we'll see. For some reason they didn't put some of the wiring harnesses back where they go. They kind of tie wrap them in random places, and like the torsion bar and stuff, but I can't do a full restoration. I'll just fix a few things and see if we can get stuff working at first, and then we'll go from there. Alright, the ground's hooked up. Let's let it down and see if anything changes. This engine's running in gear. I still got my blinky lights. Let's put it in 4-wheel auto. Oh! I'm not so sure that's okay. Very strange. Let's see if we can see what noise it is. Four-wheel drive, yay! But my light's still on. That's kind of strange. So that ground wire fixed something, because now my 4-wheel drive works, but I still got my warning light. Let's take it out of 4-wheel drive auto. Put our foot on the brakes. I think that noise was the hubs trying to engage because I had it rolling. I was under the impression this would engage them on the fly, but it didn't seem too happy about the whole ordeal. Clunk. Yep, four-wheel drive. So that's working now. I just got to find out why the light's on. It might require a code clearing. And since I know very little about these things, I'm going to see how you get the codes away or check for codes. Maybe we have other problems. But we got something. We had no four-wheel drive at all before, no matter what. Alright, I got pin A to the DLC grounded with a test light, so I don't have to worry about hurting anything. Looking for codes now. 13. It does 12 first. 13. Should be the last time it does 13. It'll go to another code if there is another one. If it flashes 12 again, we're done. I'm trying not to hurt the pins. You don't want to shove it inside. I'm getting contact on the outside of the pin. I could get a pin that fits it, but we'll be alright. I'll hold it more steady. It'll do 12, then 13. We gotta wait a while. So let's see what these codes are and we'll come back. Yeah, alright. Got my extension cord here now, so I can go as far back as I want. I probably got in the parking lot halfway. We're going to check for 5 volts on the green wire on the vehicle speed sensors on this Trooper. This video is going to go in my day in the shop and my standalone video for the PB600. Let's lift this up. See if we got 5 volts on our green wire. No 5 volts. There's a ground. We don't want that. That 5 volt reference circuit is probably being pulled to ground somewhere. We got to get to this green wire here. I got to get a smaller back probe. Alright, I got a little back probe from my kit. Let's see if we get something in here. We got a ground. Okay, so I got to trace those green wires from the speed sensors, find out where that 5 volt reference comes from. See if it's possibly pinched somewhere. This truck just had a transmission installed, so now we got to find our short. That's why we got codes. And it's very possible one of these sensors is shorted. I can't find a wire rubbing in the wrong place, even though none of the harnesses were put back where they go. I still can't find a problem where it might have rubbed through. Let me turn you guys over a second. Don't get dizzy. We're going to work that out in editing, don't worry. And I unplugged the harness. This goes out to all the other sensors from the main harness. I want to see if the problem's on this side of the connector or that side of the connector. So it's the green wire. I'm going to go over here and touch it to this one. We'll see if we have... It's a little hard to hold everything, but we're going to do our best. I think I can. If I can get this on screen and get this to touch the green output. Let's see if on a 5 volt, this side should be the 5 volt reference. Oh, there it is. We got 5 volts. So we got 5 volts getting to the harness that plugs into the sensors. I don't see the individual connectors for the sensors to figure out which one it was. We plug this back in. We'll see if we lose our 5 volt reference on that line. Yeah. There's a short in one of those sensors. I'm not sure if they come as an assembly with, because that wiring harness, I don't see connectors. So it's either all of those sensors or like an assembly, or there's connectors I can't see. I gotta find them. But we got a shorted sensor somewhere. Yeah, that has got to be, those sensors have to come in a harness, because that connector up top is the connector. So we know it needs those sensors, and we'll have them double check to make sure I'm not missing something. But the tool works pretty good. Tells you what you're seeing without even having to look at the screen if you don't want. We got a little break in the action, so we've been reading on the instructions. It does have a power probe style function called active. Look at that. I'm going to see what it shows me. A bulb. I'm guessing they want you to hook this to it. Doesn't quite go big enough. Aha. Power. Power. So the left button is positive, the right button becomes negative. So if I push negative, it's just going to have 2 grounds. Nothing's going to happen. If I push positive, it lights the bulb. So that's cool. It does have that function. I wasn't sure if it would be able to... That means you can run power windows, test other things with it. Matter of fact, there is something in the instructions I found about testing relays. More capabilities we're finding out about. Anytime you get a new tool, you got to play with it a bit. Maybe not to your blind, just till you need glasses. All right, we got the project truck back here, man. The birds have been having a field day, huh? No open bays, so I got the project truck back here. That's fine. Maybe it'll rain a little bit and rinse off my hood. I got some parts coming for that thing too, because it's running like crap. So now I'm looking at parts to freshen up that carburetor and figure out what's going on. And maybe it's sitting too much. Carburetor's a year old. It's got like 20 miles on it, but a lot of running. So I'm gonna have to go through that thing and see what's going on. I got some gaskets and stuff coming for that. We'll make a video. I got to get it running good. I got new spark plugs because it's misfiring now. The plugs are fouled so bad. And I've been running it every third time I move it. I run it like 20-30 minutes. So I've actually gone through a tank of gas. I appreciate you watching today's video, guys. We're going to end it here, short but sweet. We got a few things done. Maybe we'll get some of this work going for tomorrow, but we got unusual parts to find, so we'll see what happens. Make sure you torque the like button on your way out. Give me a subscribe if you're new and you want to see more more auto repair related videos. More than anything, I hope I see you in the next one, because you're awesome.